In this video, we're going to have a look at conditionals, and we're going to be focusing on if statements. And an if statement basically allows us to check if something is true or false or is over a greater value, and as a result of that check, then we can do another thing. So an example in terms of football might be, let's say yellow cards is equal to 0, and then to do an if statement we just type in if space, and in this example we're just going to use the first type, which is just does it exist. If yellow cards, and we're going to print you have been booked, because the person will have been booked if they have got a yellow card. At the minute we've set it to 0, so we expect nothing to happen. Oh, slight spell mistake there. You can see I haven't typed in yellow cards. Yellow cards is equal to 0. If, so I've made a bit of a syntax error there. If, open brackets, yellow, capital C this time. If yellow cards exists, print you have been booked, close my string, close my brackets. Now I'm going to do that just to double check I haven't made any spell mistakes. This one has made, it's in yellow card is not defined. We have defined yellow cards, but the yellow cards we've defined has got a capital C. So in Python these two things are different because of the capital letter, so that's why I've had to do that again. So what this is going to do at the minute is going to check, does yellow cards have a value other than 0? And it's saying that it doesn't, and that's why nothing's printed out. Now if we say yellow cards is equal to 1, and then if we run that check again, if yellow cards print you have been booked, so you can see this time it is actually printed out you've been booked, and the reason for that is because in this first example we're not actually checking is yellow card greater than 0, we're just checking does it exist. And basically within Python, if it's set to 0, it won't exist within the program, it won't have a value. Therefore that's why it didn't print out as a result of this if statement. In the second example, we've changed yellow cards is equal to 1, and we can say if yellow cards exists or has a value, print out you've been booked. And again, if we type in yellow cards equal to 4, and then do the if again, if yellow cards print you have been now you can see this time it's printed the exact same output. It's printed out you've been booked, and the reason why is because in this example yellow cards does have a value other than 0, and in this case is 4. So that's a simple introduction to an if statement, but we can also use other things called comparison operators to actually check certain things. So in this example, works fine here, works fine here, but obviously if we've got yellow cards equal to 4, we want something else to happen. Once someone's been booked twice, they should receive a red card. So in this example, I'm going to say yellow cards is equal to 0, red cards is equal to 0. I'm going to sort out my capitalization. Remember the first letter of the second of each word. Oh, we can't do that now, so I'll just define that again because we're in shell. Yellow cards equals to 0, red cards equals to 0. And then this one I'm going to say if yellow cards, again the capital C, And with these comparison operators, we can use less than, which is the left arrow. The right arrow is greater than, equal to. In this we use the two equal signs because we're not assigning it the variable a value. We're saying is this equal to. So we can type in this, and also we can use less than and equal to, which is left arrow equal to. So is this less than or equal to 1? Or we can also say is it greater than or equal to. So if yellow cards is greater than or equal to 1, we would know that the person's been booked, but we wouldn't be sure if they'd actually been sent off because we wouldn't be sure if they had a 1 or 2. So in this example, I'm going to check if yellow cards is equal to 0, and what I want to happen, I forgot my full colon, so I'm going to try it again. If yellow cards is equal to 0, forgot my colon. What I want to happen, I want to print out you haven't been booked. If we just run that, now you're going to see it's going to print out that you haven't been booked. This is the output, and the reason why is because obviously we set yellow card is equal to 0 up here, and at this point in the program, whenever we run it, if yellow card is equal to 0, it's print out you haven't been booked. So again, simple idea and how we can use these comparison operators. Second example, I'm going to change the value of yellow cards. I'm going to set it to 1, and again, if statement, if yellow cards, and in this case I'm going to say if it's greater than 0, I'm going to say, if we have a colon, print you have been booked. That obviously needs to one side quotes and brackets. Another thing which is useful whenever we're doing ifs. So if this condition is met or if this is true, do this. But sometimes we need to tell the computer else. Otherwise, do this. So we're going to check if yellow card is greater than 0, then print you have been booked. Else, we just want to print out you haven't been booked. And what this is going to do, in our example, it's going to print out you have been booked. So if we do that now and press enter, so yellow card is set to 1. It's checking if yellow card is greater than 0, which it is because we set it to 1. We want to output this part of the code, or else, so that this is going to happen for everything apart from whenever yellow card is greater than 0. So this will happen for yellow cards equal to 0, or anything less than 0 if it's possible within the program. It's going to print out you haven't been booked. So that's quite useful. And to sort of expand on it one more way, we're going to say yellow cards, spelled correctly, is equal to 2. We're going to say if yellow cards is equal to 2. So we get the colon. We're going to print out. We could change the value of a red card variable in here, but in this example, it's going to say you have been sent off. I'm going to check else if yellow cards is equal to 1. We're going to print out you have been booked. And then we're going to use an else, which is for everything else apart from these two scenarios. And we're going to type in else print you haven't been booked yet. So in this example, we're saying yellow cards is equal to 2, so we're changing the value of yellow cards to 2. In the first part, we're checking if yellow cards is equal to 2, print out you have been sent off, because obviously they've received 2 yellow cards, which would be a red card. Else, if yellow cards is equal to 1, it's going to print out you've been booked. And for any other circumstance, it is going to print out that you haven't been booked yet. So in our example, that's going to be fine, because it's going to start off at 0 and it's going to go up from 1 to 2. But that might not be possible in certain programs that you do. So one also important part to point out is the use of else if. So instead of having just one else if, we can have as many else ifs as we want. So we might have, for age, if age is less than 10, print out you are a child. Else if age is less than 20, print out you are a teenager. Else if age is less than 30, print out you are a young person. Else if age is less than 40, print out you are middle aged. What that will do, will continue to check the value, and then depending on which condition is satisfied, which will determine what is actually printed out back to the user. So we can have as many else ifs as we want. In this example, we've only got one else if, we've got one if, and we're going to finish off with an else, which will happen for all other occurrences other than the ones that we have described in our ifs and else ifs. And now if I press on enter to run that, it's going to say you've been sent off. So it's checked, and straight away it's found out if yellow card is equal to 2, which it is, it's printing that you've been sent off. So if it had been sent equal to 1, it would have booked them. Otherwise, it would have printed out you haven't been booked yet. So that's a simple introduction to the use of if statements in terms of doing conditional checks within Python.